Thousands of Cherokee once walked this path, part of a forced migration, an overland journey covering more than 800 miles, a journey that cut through southern Illinois in the dead of winter. The Cherokee called this trail the place where they cried. We know it as the Trail of Tears. I'm Mark Kiesling. Join me as we follow in their footsteps today on Illinois Backroads. Our journey actually begins on the Kentucky side of the Ohio River, at a place called Mantle Rock, about 3 miles east of Golconda, Illinois. Mantle Rock is the largest freestanding arch east of the Mississippi. During the winter of 1838 and 39, this rock outcropping served as a shelter for many Cherokee who were stuck here waiting for the Ohio River to thaw and become passable. Nearly a dozen detachments passed through this area. Each included between 700 and 1,500 Cherokee. Some likely sought protection from the weather under this natural shelter or near the bluffs around it, where streams provided natural water sources. Most stayed in temporary camps that stretched for miles along a road just north of Mantle Rock. It led to a ferry owned by John Berry, which carried travelers across the Ohio to Golconda. A detachment led by Major Richard Taylor was one of those camped here, waiting for ice flows on the Ohio River to thaw enough to allow passage. The Taylor detachment included the Reverend Daniel Buttrick. He was raised in the Northeast, but joined the Cherokee Nation as a missionary around the age of 30. He kept a detailed journal of their travels, including crossing the Ohio River into Illinois. By December 29th, detachments were spread from Mantle Rock to the banks of the Mississippi, deadlocked, waiting on both rivers to thaw enough to cross. The Taylor detachment was stuck 25 miles from the Mississippi.
Saturday, December 29th. It is distressing to reflect on the situation of the Cherokee Nation. One detachment is stopped at the Ohio River, 2 at the Mississippi, 1 4 miles this side, 1 16 miles this side, 1 18 miles, and 1 3 miles behind us. In all, these detachments comprise of about 8,000 souls. There is sickness in almost every tent, and yet all are homeless in a strange land and in a cold region, exposed to weather almost unknown in their native country. But they are prisoners. Reverend Daniel Buttrick.
They got trapped in all these camps along in Illinois, and people started getting sick and dying.
As they traveled into Union County, the Taylor detachment spent one night at this site, the present home of Campground Cumberland Presbyterian Church. When the Cherokee came through, it was an area similar to Dixon Springs, with several springs to provide fresh water. The land was owned by George Heilman, who was receptive to the Cherokee camping there.
But they also asked permission from Mr. Heilman if they could bury some recently deceased Cherokee, and he graciously said, of course, I have 2 sons up here. You're welcome to use that cemetery as your cemetery.
As they made their way past Jonesboro, the Taylor detachment joined several other groups, still waiting to cross the Mississippi River. They gathered here on Hamburg Hill. It's one of the few undisturbed places in Illinois where you can still walk in the Cherokee's footsteps.
So Hamburg Hill is a certified site on the National Historic Trail, and this particular location, we have about 1.25 miles of the original road corridor that the Cherokee would have walked on.
The Trail of Tears was designated a National Historic Trail in 1987 through an act of Congress. The Illinois Trail of Tears Association works to keep alive the history and the lessons learned through the suffering.
Trail is extremely important to the Cherokee, to the modern day Cherokee.
Yes.
It is a very tragic part of their history, and they haven't gotten over it. And it's still like an open wound.